We're less than a week away from the 2024 season starting out for the Tennessee Titans. So as we always do before the season starts, we're gonna do our preview. This video is on the new revamped offense and a piece of that offense that I think is gonna bring a little boom to our run game after the intro. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Bonafide, and this is Section 240, a channel all about the Tennessee Titans, but from a fan's perspective. So in this video up here, we talked about this totally revamped, brand new defense that absolutely did a cooking masterclass on revamping. So in this video, we're gonna talk about our new offense because that too got some updates that I am glad to talk about. So, let's recap. If you didn't watch the other video, we know what happened. Mike Vrabel fired. Season terrible. Tim Kelly out of here. And I don't even know if we can really call him Pretty Boy Kelly anymore because the things he did on offense was really ugly, all right? And last but not least, Derrick Henry, gone. Ryan Tannehill, gone. Aaron Brewer, he's in Miami, so good luck Miami, but he's gone. So that archaic offense that we used to run with a heavy focus on the run game and Derrick Henry, that's no more. Derrick Henry went to the Ratbirds, like so many other Titans greats, but we're not gonna talk about that, all right? So what did we do in the offseason? Well, we hired Brian Callahan from the Cincinnati Bengals, and we basically said, hey, let's clean this up and let's clean it up fast, all right? So when Brian Callahan was hired, one of the quotes that stuck out to me and a lot of people was, he said that the teams that win the most games are generally great at passing the ball. They pass the ball the best. Now, I know if you're a Titans fan, this is a concept that is completely foreign to you. What is foreign to me, Bonafide? The object of passing the ball more than we run. I know, foreign concept, but a lot of teams are doing it, not named the Titans, but that's changed, all right? So, like if you know anything, we've not been known to be a passing team. But like with any new coach, new philosophy, also a new staff. I don't think we kept anybody, unlike the defense where we kept two coaches, we didn't keep anybody on this offensive staff. Look on the screen right here, Brian Callahan's the new coach. I think Tyke Tolbert is our new wide receivers coach. Nick Holes, who used to be in Jacksonville last year with Calvin Ridley, is now our new OC. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So this is a completely revamped offensive room, and that is refreshing, to say the least. All right, now, the other big question that came up when Brian was hired was, who is gonna call the plays? Are you calling the plays, Brian, or is Nick Holtz calling the plays? And Brian Callahan cleared that up quick, fast, and in a hurry. Brian Callahan is going to be calling the offensive plays for the Tennessee Titans. Now, Nick Holtz is going to be involved with the offense just as much as anybody else. He's gonna take care of all that day-to-day, the game planning, the setup, what openers. Oh, that's another thing. I didn't even write this down, but Brian Callahan mentioned things of, if you're familiar with games, we always know that the first 15 to 20 plays are like scripted plays. And once you get out of that and you kind of know what the defense is going to do, then you kind of go in there. Well, Brian Callahan has a different philosophy. He has like openers and things that he uses to kind of do the same thing, but he kind of categorizes them as different. So they're openers. So Nick Holtz is going to be involved in those openers and things like that. So it's going to be similar to how Brian was used to it in there. When he was in Cincinnati, he was the OC, so he was kind of familiar with all that, getting, Joe set up, getting the game plan put in. But on game day, Zach Taylor called the plays. So we're going to have that kind of similar structure here. Now, it's going to be on game day, it's going to be Brian Callahan's voice in Will Levis's. I don't even know what kind of helmet Will Levis wore. And I don't know, it just popped in my head, but yeah, I gotta figure out what kind of helmet he wears. Is it a Revo? Is it a Speed? I'm gonna go take a look at it. But it's gonna be Brian Callahan's voice in there, all right? Now, Brian Callahan, if you watch any of the videos about him, I think I got one video, I'll put it up here if I can find a link to it up here, about who he is and where his background is. And he's worked with a lot of great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, and more recently he's worked with Joe Burrow. But what got me excited, now that's great, everything's great. Peyton Manning was calling around the league, vouching for Brian Callahan to get a job last year and this year, and it kind of helped him land the Titans job. And all that is great. But what really stuck out to me is not really what he did with Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow's an extreme talent, but it's what he did with Jake Browning. When Joe Burrow went down, obviously you would thought, oh, you know, this is it for the Bengals, they're gonna blah, blah. But no, Jake Browning, working with Brian Callahan, taking those lessons that he learned from Peyton and working with Matthew and all of that, really he kind of balled out a little bit, you know, in that regards. He was still pushing the ball down the field. They didn't dumb down the playbook for him. There's plenty of interviews about Jake Browning said, hey, yeah, I like this, let's do this, let's do that. And that's directly associated to Brian Callahan. So if Brian Callahan can do that for a Jake Browning and a Joe Burrow, imagine what he can do with Will Levis, all right? I think this is huge for Will's development. Simply saying that, hey, we've got an offensive-minded head coach that is concerned or has skills about developing quarterbacks that are going to be top-notch. Man, what more can you ask for? Like, I don't know if you can feel the excitement, but I'm excited about seeing Brian Callahan. We're almost close. Now, and we know that Will has a big arm and he can push the ball down the field. But if Brian can kind of finesse it and work it into where Will's completion percentage goes up, and we take those easy throws, that'll open up those deep throws that we love, that we saw in that Falcons game where he was just out here, you know, that man was throwing bombs, all right? We can see that more often, and they'll pay off for us in the long run. So, and if that happens, and Brian is able to develop Will into that more efficient passer he can take the big shot, ooh, it's gonna be scary hours. No, just joking. It'd be scary for this offense, all right? Now, you know me, I'm a fan, so I take in a lot of content, and I try to, you know, share as much as I can. Now, Music City Audible, and I'm gonna drop the link to that podcast. I'm for real. I know last video said I was gonna drop the link, and I didn't drop the link. My bad. But this video, I put it in my notes. Drop the link. So this link to a podcast that they did when Brian Callahan first got hired. Now, it kind of goes into some things about the offense and how it's gonna differ from when Mike was here and Tim Kelly was here and Todd Downing was here, and to what Cali could be running. Now, it's not the book, but it's a very, very good article. It kind of talks about the passing games, things like that. Like I said, check that out. But what in essence, what we can expect is that this is going to be a pass-heavy passing game. It's going to be a huge focus. Like I said in the other video about the defense, going to be press man coverage. The offense is going to be pass-heavy, my boy. Yeah, my boy. Yeah, that's two words, one word, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be pass heavy. We are going to be throwing the ball, which is so wonderful, all right? So I suggest after this video, you go watch that in Music City Audible podcast with Justin Graver and Justin Mello. They do an awesome job. You should be following them anyway. I'm like, why are you not following them anyway? You should be telling me, hey, I've already watched that, so I'm excited too. But if you're not, go follow them and we go from there. And no, they did not pay me to say this. I'm not even sponsored. So, that is. Now, another thing that we can expect, which was a big thing, and you may not even really kind of grasp it, but Brian and Rand are big on analytics. Whew. I know it sounds like a buzzword, but it really matters. Like what to do when the ball is in this position at this part of the field at this time. What's the percentages? They are really big. Brian even said that his dad, Bill, is like one of the biggest analytic nerds here, and he's considered to be a Hall of Famer. So they've made an investment in the analytics department. I think they hired underneath Sarah Bailey. She got a promotion, and we got more analysts underneath there. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think during this whole preseason, Brian challenged like 2 plays, and we got both of them right. But analytics goes into that. Where do we do? Where we go? And we we did a lot of 4th and 1 and 4th and short conversions. So analytics is playing a game. It's not just having a gut feel about what the game is and the Jimmys and the Joes like that. We're using data that is made available to everybody to make sure that we're making the right decisions to push the offense down the field. So definitely super hype about what Brian is bringing to this, just as an offensive play caller, as a thing. Now I get it. Preseason, we didn't see a lot. It was a lot of vanilla. I think the 3rd preseason against the Saints, we probably saw more than I think we've ever seen before. But even though it was a preseason, the Tennessee Titans had over 300 plus yards on offense in every preseason game. And we went undefeated in the preseason, baby. Undefeated preseason. It means nothing. But I'm gonna take the W's when I can, all right? Now, one more thing. I don't know, and you probably already know this, so I ain't probably tell you nothing like this, but maybe let's say you've been in a coma and you just now getting over the fact that Steve McNair is no longer the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans and Eddie George has moved on to the Cowboys, and you're just now waking up from that coma. Or maybe you just been living in one of the dollhouses in Nissan Stadium and you're just now coming out for some air. Let me be the first to inform you that the Tennessee Titans are all in on Will Levis. All right, it shouldn't be a surprise to you, but they are all in on Will Levis. Now, this is obvious. I'm Captain Obvious here, but this is made even more obvious given the moves that Rand Carthon made this offseason, not just on defense, but on offense, to fix as many gaps as he could in this particular situation. So he tried to fix them as fast as possible. And 2 of those gaps that really focus on the offense were protection and weapons, all right? So let's talk about protection first, all right? Because this is where the game is won. They say the game is won in the trenches, your offensive line, your defensive line. And let me tell you something. We absolutely sucked at protecting the quarterback.
We suck.
I'm telling you right now, we were downright disgusting. It made me sick to my stomach to watch that offensive line outside of Peter Skoronski last year. I mean, Andre Dillard made me question whether or not I wanted Dennis Daly back. I know, blasphemous, but yes, that's how bad that guy was. And our center, I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. All right, not a lot of muscle, but I was bigger than our center from last year, all right? Dog, the Titans quarterbacks got sacked 60 plus times, all right, last year. It was just, I mean, it was terrible, man. It was bad. I did a lot of cussing on the Lord's Day that I should not have done. But that's how bad that line was, all right? So, and what happened was that led us to be, second and long and third and forever. And then ultimately trotting out the MV punter, Ryan Stonehouse, and shoot, that line was so bad, got him hurt. He was put out for the season. So, you know what I'm saying? So, just, not to beat a dead horse, pow, pow, but that line was boo, boo, all right? But I don't know if you heard or not, but Brian's dad, Bill Callahan, yeah, he got to know a little thing or two about, offensive lines. And so after some back and forth, the Browns let Bill come over here to be with his son. And that right there, perfect. Because what happens is that as soon as Bill gets here, and we pair him with our first round draft pick, J.C. Latham, it was almost an instant impact, because we have a solid offensive line coach teaching our guys what we got right now is a pretty good collection of tackles and guards and a good center. So I think they can be cohesive. But we have an actual offensive line coach teaching our players how to be an actual offensive line. And that is something we haven't had in a long time. So You know, Bill has been valuable in this part, you know, fixing the protection. And like I said, the glimpses that I seen in the preseason game, the Saints game being the most prevalent, we can see, even Brian Baldigger, you can see, man, you can see what's going on that offensive line. They are looking good. They are moving people. They are running. I saw one play where there was a double team block by JC and Peter, and man, I've actually prayed for the Saints player. I know he was backup. I know he was on his way back to class because he wasn't gonna make the team. But man, in that moment when he got hit, I sent up a little prayer. I was like, hey, Lord, protect that man, because he just got ran all the way over, all right? Cushenberry pulled on one of the screens, and I was like, how is he running that fast? That it was amazing, all right? So, and look, and when training camp started over, I'm gonna tell you this, when training camp started, the right side was like a concern. You know, we had we didn't know if it was NPF. We had signed Sadiq, but then Sadiq retires in the middle of the doggone thing. So we thought he had the guard thing up. But man, let me tell you something, man. NPF came back from that little surgery, man. And Radins came out there, and hey, it's still a concern, but it ain't like a big concern because hey, man, they were doing the thing, all right? So, you know, what I'm saying is that we got the protection thing down, hopefully, all right? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm putting a lot of faith in Bill Callahan being able to improve this thing, but he's done it time before, so I don't have no reason yet. Now, we'll revisit this during the bye week on whether or not he can do work miracles. But hey, man, if Olga and Bertha could talk, and if you don't know who Olga and Bertha is, then you ain't really been paying attention to training camp. But if Olga and Bertha could talk, they would be like, yes, they are doing it very well. That's like man. I'm not even gonna bleep that out. That was a poor accent. All right, so now we got the protection fixed. Now we coming over here to the weapons. Now last year, the offense we ran, we basically had some Tennessee Department of Transportation workers out there and some Samsung washing machine repairmen out there catching the ball. All right, man. Look, they were better run blockers than they were wide receivers. Cody Hollister, Chris Moore. Chris Moore was probably the most dynamic, and man, let me tell you something. But that ain't the case this time, all right? We got DeAndre Hopkins, he's back. 1,000 yards from last season, surprisingly. I don't even know how that happened, but yeah, he got 1,000 yards this last season. Then we picked up Calvin Ridley. Come on, son, Calvin Ridley? Yes, Calvin Ridley from Jacksonville. Now let Jazz fans tell it, oh, he sucks, he drops the ball, blah, 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 blah. I vividly remember being in Jacksonville last year and watching Calvin Ridley catch a bomb over Sean Murphy Button's bum behind and scoring a touchdown. So I'll gladly take that trash behind Calvin Ridley any day of the week. And then after that, we picked up Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd packed his bags up in Cincy and came down to Nashville and said, hey, let me be y'all wide receiver 3. And you know, I can't forget about my man NWI. That's not even an I. I can't make that. But NWI. He's wide receiver 4. And and we picked up Jaquan Jackson, and Jaquan Jackson is a wide receiver, but he's gonna be like a punt returner and kick returner, and Treylon Burks. Okay, Wiley, he's coming up. He's in Chigley, the tight end. We got Nick Vanette, and then the UDFA DMR. My main man made the team, so he's on there. So Derrick Henry ain't here no more. We already talked about that, but we picked up Tony Pollard in free agency to make that connection with Spears. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. Now, all of these moves, the protection and the weapon was made with Will Levis in mind. All right, now. We give Levis these weapons in the passing game, even the options out of the backfield to have dynamic pass catchers out of the backfield, and it's moving that doggone offense forward. Now, like I said, we average in the preseason like 300 yards with that offense, so it could be something or it could be nothing, but you know, we're gonna find out here in a couple of days in Chicago. But you couple these new weapons, DeAndre, Calvin, Tyler, Pollard, Spears, Jaquan Jackson, all of these weapons with Brian Callahan's pass-heavy offense, and we can finally, I think this is gonna be the year we finally bury, can we score 30 points in a game curse that's been like hanging over our head for the past couple of seasons. Now, I think the only thing that I am concerned with is how well this newly revamped line can protect Will, and then does Will improve his completion percentage? Now, that's something that he's talked about at length in interviews this offseason. So if those two things, if we can keep him upright, and then Will can improve, take those smaller throws and not, have to be a gunslinger, then man, we might be looking at some hot fire. All right. So before we hit our last point, if you liking the content, come on, lock in with your boy. Come on, lock in with Bonafide. With the section, hit the little subscribe button down there, man. And that way you don't miss none of the videos that we drop, because I'm telling you, we got a whole stuff planned. I don't even want to tell you about it now, but in the next video, we're going to tell you all the things we got planned for this upcoming season. So, last point. Derrick Henry has been our identity. It doesn't matter what you want, for quite some time. And those days are done. No more Derrick. And I know he's a Titans legend. I mean, shoot, he's featured on our Mount Rushmore shirt that you can get at www.section240.com/shop. But I feel like our rushing game is going to be way more explosive now, all right? Because we got Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, who I am now. I don't care if you was the first to do it. I'm telling you right now here on Section 240, this is the new nickname for them. TNT, kaboom, all right? Now, by themselves, they don't seem to be like every down backs, It's just the way the size they are, their size, the type of game that they play. But in this new Brian Callahan offense, their ability to catch the ball out the backfield and get that run after the catch, those yards out there, is something that we didn't really see a lot with Derrick. Not to say he couldn't do it, but we just didn't catch Derrick catching the ball out of the backfield on the screen too many times. It was usually toss right, toss left, run up the middle, and maybe see if we can get close to a third down, we can get a short pass. But that's not the same thing again. So, because I think screens are going to be a big part of this offense, and that remains to be seen, but I think it's going to be a big part of our game. And that's going to help us move the ball down the field and extend some of these drives. Some of them drives that we would be so like 3 and outs, I think we're going to see some longer drives here in this offense. Now, another thing that I think that this explosive new dynamic duo is going to do, it's going to eliminate what used to happen a lot with Derrick. And with that was when Derrick left the field, you could bet on it. I don't know if you could live bet plays, you could almost bet that the next play was going to be a pass, because when we took him off the field, we would put it in, I remember back in the day, we used to put in, what's the boy name? Hilliard used to be in there, and it was almost a tell, like, hey, they're about to pass the ball. So it was a telltale. But now, with Tyjae and Tony, TNT, you can't do that no more. All right, you can't do that no more, because they are interchangeable. Tony can run through the tackles and catch the ball just like Tyjae can. Tyjae can take the ball in between the tackles, outside the tackle, and catch the ball and get yards out of the catch. We've seen both of them do it plenty of times before. Tony with the Cowboys and Tyjae last year. He given the chance, he was making people miss. I'll never forget that run that he had against the Ravens. Crazy run after the catch. So opposing DCs ain't gonna be able to just say, oh, well, okay, Tony was in for the first two, now Tyjae's coming in. Are they gonna pass, or are they gonna throw? Are they gonna run? Yeah, it's gonna be confusing, because it's gonna be explosives, because we're not showing our hands anymore, all right? And I think also splitting the carries for them will keep them fresh, and it's gonna give them a level of explosion that later in the games, when defenses are wearing down, you got a fresh Tyjae, you got a fresh Tony catching the screen. Sometimes you just ain't gonna be able to catch up. That third quarter win, you're gonna be sucking wind trying to catch after them boys, all right? So I think that this TNT is gonna be it's gonna be the explosive. Put all the explosion gifts and all that stuff on this, because I feel like it's gonna be crazy with them, all right? So we wrapping this preview up. Once again, ran masterclass. He was cooking, chefing, doing whatever he wanted to do. He did a masterful job trying to cover up some of these gaps. Now, on paper, looks like this is a vastly improved offense. Now, obviously, we got to see them play the game, the ones against the ones, but I'm excited. I'm like, I told somebody the other day, I haven't been this excited about the offense since last season, all right? But this is true excitement because we're about to see something that we've never seen before. We've really never seen an offense that passes the ball like this, since Steve McNair and Mike Heimerdinger. Rest in peace to the Dinger and the Mac 9, all right? So this offense led by Will and run by Brian, the way they're gonna attack these defenses is gonna be, it's gonna be explosive, man. I can't wait. I cannot absolutely wait, all right? So don't forget, we're wrapping the video up. That's all we got. Don't forget to check out the website, www.section240.com. Get your own merch. We just dropped the Toughest McNair Titans Legend shirt. We got the Love You Blue. I've been a fan since Love You Blue to tighten up. We got plenty of shirts in there for you. Man, go ahead and check it out. Go copy one. Don't forget, I keep telling y'all, we getting close. We are close. We are less than 200 subs away from the 1K giveaway. Less than 1K giveaway. And I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna get with that, all right?
A few minutes later.
1K giveaway, we giving away. You see that? You see that Nike sign? We giving away one of these. All you gotta do is be a subscriber. All you gotta do is be a subscriber to get entered. And when we hit 1K, we gonna pick somebody and they gonna win a throw bike jersey, all right? So make sure you keep, you subscribe to the channel, you like it, you comment, share it with all your Titans friends, because we getting hyped. I'm hyped. I don't even know. I'm hyped about this offense and this team. I am ready for the season to begin. So we're gonna have our first game preview coming on later this week, but make sure that you lock in with us here at this section, man, because like I said, there's plenty of room in this section for us all.